What is insecurity? What does it mean, and what can we do about it? Hello everyone, my name is Rich Pearson. I'm a professional counsellor and psychotherapist based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and today we're going to be talking about insecurity. So there are various definitions of what insecurity is. One is to say that someone is lacking confidence or feeling anxious about themselves. Another definition, which is the one I'm going to focus on slightly more, is this idea of being under attack, a perceived kind of threat to yourself or to some part of yourself. If you remember the video that we did on the connections model, we talked about mind, body, soul, and emotions. You can be under threat from things which aren't just physical, and your ego and your emotions and your soul, in fact, can be something which is under threat in a sense. And that insecurity, sometimes it's real. Sometimes people feel, insecurity because, for example, they may not have trust in a romantic partner. Let's just jump straight in and use a really obvious example. Now, some people might feel insecure about that because for a very genuine reason, because maybe their partner is actually being unfaithful to them, and they feel that insecurity because what they're being told doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. But other kinds of insecurity may be based on, I guess, a fallacy of some kind, a misplaced belief or an idea that we've got from somewhere else that doesn't actually add up or stand up to any kind of scrutiny. So a lot of people, myself included, feel quite insecure about their looks. I am 35 now, nearly 36, starting to lose my hair a bit. That is why I wear a hat in most of these videos. And I feel a little bit insecure about that. And I feel like people are judging me because I have lost my hair and stuff. And I feel like I don't look as cool as I should look. And when I was a teenager, that was incredibly important. I mean, I know that I'm being insecure because I've just crossed my arms like that whilst I'm talking about it, which is a sort of surefire, self-comforting kind of defensive mechanism that often comes in when people feel insecure about something. Other people might feel insecure that they're not popular enough, that especially in this day and age, social media is playing a big part in how people feel about themselves. But how do we get around all of these insecurities? Now, obviously, there are some things which we should feel insecure about. Our existence, global warming, our place on the planet that we are slowly starting to destroy, the advent of AI, things like nuclear war. Those are all things which we should worry about, but somehow they're such big problems that most of us struggle to even comprehend them as problems that any of us can have any meaningful effect on. So we don't worry about them too much. But and I suppose in tandem with that, it's interesting the relatively small things that we choose to worry about. Mark Manson has written a great book. It's one that I'm going to review soon, and this might be the first swear word that I've uttered in this entire series, but his book is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it is about deciding which things you're going to care about as a book in general. It's not a perfect book, there's no such thing, but it's got some really good ideas, and a lot of it is based around insecurity and perceived insecurities that people have. Now, taking myself as an example, I have really worried about my hair and losing my hair for a long while. I've got, it's definitely thinning and it's going away up there. Now, this isn't something that I take to my own counselling. I don't talk to my counsellor about losing my hair or how insecure I feel about it, but it is something that I worry about and I do try and do things about it. But the cure to any kind of insecurity, I think, or one of the things which can really help, is to examine that insecurity. Now, what's really interesting is that for a lot of people, some insecurities may be the only constants that they have had in their lives. No, they constantly believe that they are going to be cheated on. They constantly believe that everyone else views them with low self-worth. That they constantly believe that they are the butt of every joke. And I mean, more than one of those are things from my own personal life that I can definitely subscribe to and say that I've been insecure about those things. But as I say again, the cure to that is to examine it, but it is very difficult sometimes to get someone to look at something. Firstly, because it might be very hard, it might be very painful to actually look at it. Secondly, the answer to examining that particular insecurity might be something that they don't like. A lot of people's insecurities come down, especially if they're to do with other people in romantic relationships, a lot of those insecurities come down to trust. And trust is something which is it's like an element. There's nothing else really to it. If no one's given you any reason not to trust them, then the rest of the work that you have to do is by yourself. Trust is an absolute thing. You trust someone or you don't, and it's your decision whether or not you do that. So sometimes the answers can be things that people don't want to hear. And also the third thing I was going to say is that some people might not want to examine those insecurities because they actually find kind of joy in the sort of chains that they've built for themselves, in these sort of towers of insecurity. For some people, those things about insecurity are kind of like their personality to an extent. And some people are really, really scared to give that up. The big thing that you find, really, when I look around, and I've spent most of my life looking at other people, analysing other people, a large part of it because I'm insecure about myself and thinking, I wonder what that person's thinking about. I wonder if that person cares about me or not. The thing that you notice about people who are secure in themselves, who are confident, who aren't really that bothered by things, they often might seem on the surface to be quite boring people because they're generally not loud, egotistical, extroverted, or anything else. And I have certainly fallen into all of those categories in the past before, when I've tried to make people like me by being big and loud and flashy like some kind of weird millennial peacock. So it's important to understand that the being a secure person, being a content person, being a happy person might outwardly to other people look like you're potentially quite a boring person, because secure people don't usually go for drama. They don't usually need dramatic things in their life. And for a lot of people, a secure person is someone who has stripped away all of the things. They've looked at things which they can change, how they feel about other people's perceptions of themselves, and gone, I don't care what people think about my hair or my skin or how I'm dressed or anything else like that. They've looked at some of the things that they can't change. I can't know what my partner is doing at every moment of every day. So it's impossible to ever know and be certain that they're not having an affair or doing something which I don't want them to be doing or anything like that. So instead, I'm going to choose to trust them. So there's many different things that you can do in order to try and work against this kind of trap of insecurity. And again, in Mark Manson's book, he does a brilliant job of telling us that we are in a world now where it's designed that we should care about so many things, because insecurity makes people buy things. Insecurity makes for very good consumers. People who are secure and comfortable in themselves do not buy a lot of crap. They don't. They wear the same clothes year in, year out. They have old phones, old cars, things that work but aren't flashy or anything like that. And I would say that I'm probably halfway between the two of those things, because I've got a relatively new phone. I've got pretty old clothes, to be honest. My car is relatively nice though, and sometimes I look at it and I go, I don't need that. I could have something much more boring and practical, but I want something that looks cool and goes fast and there. And I don't need that. I really don't. I'm not even that bothered about the speed that my car goes at. I just want it. And sometimes I have to stop and go, I just want it because I like the way I look when I get out of it. And that's one of those things that is really hard to confront about yourself sometimes and examine that belief. Why do I do this? So it's really interesting, insecurity, the study of insecurity. And you can see insecurity in so many other people. So many people do really quite mean-spirited, evil, nasty things in the name of their insecurity. You know, there's absolutely like no deeper level that you need to go to wonder why men like Donald Trump build giant skyscrapers. It's a big show of insecurity, really. I think I've never met Donald Trump and I've never analysed him, you know, on a one-to-one basis as a person, but I'm fairly sure I'm right about that. And other such things. There are displays of masculine insecurity all over the place, and feminine insecurity as well. So it's important to be aware that insecurity is such a huge driver in our modern life. And I would recommend Mark Manson's book. I'm going to do a review on that at some point, which I hope is helpful to some people that might not be sure whether or not they want to read it. I also think it's really important, if you are working with a therapist, to talk about the things that you are insecure about, to talk about the things that you feel like you're missing out on, to talk about how you feel about how you think other people feel about you. And just for free, let me give you a little nugget of information on the house. 99% of people don't care about how you look, unless you look like you're about to have a breakdown or you're on fire or anything else like that, in which case most people are probably going to try and help you or something like that. But what I found from going to public boarding school and then college and university and everything else is that I spent so much of my time worrying about how I looked to other people, and the most amazing thing was almost everyone at my school was just as insecure as I was, so they were all actually really just worrying about themselves and how they looked as well. You don't need to worry, because most people really don't care. The ones that are insecure care more about themselves, and the ones that are secure don't care about how you look on the surface. They just care who you are as a decent human being, hopefully. So that's kind of a rambling, expository kind of explanation about what insecurity means to me and what it means to some of the clients that I work with. I really hope that's helped. I probably will do another video on insecurity at some point because it's such a big topic. But if you are struggling with anything like that, it's worth asking your counsellor or therapist about insecurity, about what it means to you, and about what things it might be holding you back from. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more like this, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you guys all tomorrow for the next one. Thanks very much.